And finally, Nintendo. They came in here with a 3-tier conference, starting off with Zelda, the 3DS games, and the new console. On top of that, they also had the shortest, by far, of the 3 conferences.
Only an hour.
Which is weird, because they actually had a lot of stuff to show, they just didn't really want to focus on.
That's one thing Nintendo does differently than the other companies, is that they tend to say, here's our big focuses, and then they have all these other things to showcase.
Yeah, usually while Microsoft went out with their actors to do their little thing, and Sony came out with each developer coming out with their games and having huge trailers. Nintendo came out and just had Reggie and the major 3 come out and give their speeches. First things first, Legend of Zelda 25th Anniversary was the first major tier. They had the symphony orchestra playing a whole bunch of music, took forever,
and showing off
probably for the best because the audio was screwing up from our end when we were watching it.
And then they showed a Skyward Sword trailer. They didn't actually demonstrate it this year because last year
was so horrible. I was not surprised that it was not there. But the first things first, that's the big thing coming out in holiday 2011. We predicted this a while ago, even though they said, it's coming out early 2000. No, it's coming out
with the 25th anniversary.
Not going to happen. But the big surprise with the 4 Swords from the Game Boy Advance is coming to be a free DSiWare game.
Yep. Happy birthday!
Yeah, happy birthday, Legend of Zelda. You're getting 4 swords. Hopefully it plays with single player. I can't remember too much about that. Also, Ocarina of Time 3D was mentioned.
Comes out in about a week.
Comes out in a week from now. It probably is going to be out by the time this comes out. But anyway, the
big celebration they wanted to do is, besides a new Wii Motion Plus
that's gold and probably going to have extra stuff with that.
Yeah, pretty much what's going to happen is they're actually going to make an orchestra go around the world and
play music.
And playing Zelda music.
Zelda concert. That's going to be cool. There's going to be 2 two CDs. One that happens to people who send the codes for
Ocarina of Time 3D
for Club Nintendo. That's going to be just music from that, and plus the special track that they added to it. And then there's going to be another CD that's going to be released, which is just all orchestrated music.
Supposedly they're saying they're going to release the CD alongside Skyward Sword. So I'm thinking a bundle between Skyward Sword, the new remote, and the soundtrack into a special 25th anniversary.
Yeah, because Nintendo doesn't have any of that yet. We still believe there's going to be a 3DS special edition.
Probably with Ocarina of Time bundled with it.
Yeah, that's going to be announced probably in the fall.
Yeah.
And that's it for Zelda. The second tier was 3DS games.
Yes.
They had 5 major games to show. Mind you, the first one was already shown, so there's still 5 more. First things first, Mario Kart, which is being helped by Retro Studios, is full of transformations.
Yep, now you have special wings that help you fly across jumps. When you go into water, you get a propeller and you start swimming underwater.
And on top of that, you can also pick and choose wheels and parts to change up what you're using.
How you play and everything.
It's not about individual carts now, it's about the parts. So it's kind of getting like a Need for Speedy right there. Apparently it looks pretty good.
And apparently they're aiming for 8-player online multiplayer.
Yep. So that's going to be pretty good. Hopefully no more snaking. Then we have Star Fox 64 3D.
This comes out in September.
This is going to have special tilt controls.
Although I'm probably not going to use them.
Fully remade graphics and music.
And voiceover.
And voiceover. And it's going to have a special multiplayer, where
it actually records your face as you play, so that way when you kill someone, you can actually see them going, oh man, and stuff like that. I've seen this before. I'm worried about what kind of vicinities we're going to see on the screen.
The big issue, though, is that it's probably not online multiplayer, which implies that you might as well just go, oh, to the person right next to you, because that's how close you're going to be to the person playing it. Really hope they should have gone to online with that. Then Super Mario, it's going to have
confirmed Tanuki suit.
Yep, with the Tanuki suit that comes out.
Though it doesn't fly infinitely. It does glide you.
The game apparently is a full 3D adventure. Essentially, it's like if they went back to Mario World and said, you know what, let's make Mario in 3D, but let's keep all of the normal Mario aesthetics.
Pretty much with Mario Galaxy 2, with a lot of linear designed levels, getting to the star you were getting. It's the same thing, except instead of a star, you get a giant flags pulls. So pretty much it's Mario in 3D, not Mario 64.
Mario. It's like completely removing the open-endedness to the game. It's now a full Mario game with using 3D.
And it uses interesting perspectives like overhead and stuff like that. So it's going to be really interesting to see where that goes.
By the way, all these 3DS games have trailers available through the eShop, and they look very good in the 3D. By the way, very high quality. Then Kid Icarus Uprising.
Yep, almost forgot that one.
Yeah, and announced 2 special modes to it that weren't known before. One is multiplayer.
Yep,
3 versus 3. You're trying to attack the one angel, and the other 2 are supposed to protect them, and so forth. And then there's AR cards. There's going to be at least 20 of them, which you can put up two against each other, and they fight each other.
I don't know how it works.
Are they thinking up rules, or is this going to be a little cool thing that you can just have them fight each other? I don't know.
It could be just a little added thing. It's just an extra thing.
It's a Sakurai. He's going to keep adding stuff to the game until they tell them.
Hopefully it makes it out this year.
Yeah, I imagine it will. And also, we'll get to that in a second. And then the special announcement, Luigi's Mansion 2.
Yep, they're making a sequel. All those hints were not for naught.
Yeah, he said, me, by the way, I got on record to say, like, yeah, ghosts look pretty cool if you see only one half of them on the screen. And I figured that was going to be either new IP with Ghosts or Luigi's Mansion 2. Turned out to be Luigi's Mansion 2, developed by Next Level Games.
Same people behind Punch-Out Wii and the Striker games.
Yes. This game involves multiple
mansions, and it's more like a mission mode where it's you exploring a particular mansion to fight this one ghost. And I don't know how big these mansions are going to be, but the demo was about like
15 to 20 minutes long. So my guess is that each level could be as long as a half hour to an hour in length, and that each one is there's going to be probably 7 to 10 of them. So it's probably going to be a fairly large game, and
it looks really cool in 3D because actually there's a house. You're looking inside a dollhouse or something.
But the frame rate needs some work.
Yeah, that's a little.
This game is not coming out this year, though, much to my
Even though this is the 10th year anniversary for Luigi's Mansion, it's not coming out till
probably. I'm going to say March.
March, probably.
All right, and they mentioned eShop briefly,
which came out, which activated this the day of the conference
with Excitebike and Pokédex and LADX.
And everyone cares so much about it, just keep moving.
Yeah, then they have the new console, the Wii U.
Instead of Wii 2. Basically, the whole philosophy behind it is that we're playing games, but you're not, so this is for you, is what they're going for.
Yeah.
It's really kind of silly, honestly.
It's kind of silly concept, but it's got a pretty cool controller. It's analog, it's got...
first off, big touchscreen.
Big 6-inch touchscreen in the center. You got two thumb pads. You got some triggers, and you got buttons.
And it's this big. It's not a small.
It's even got a sensor bar, which means it interacts with the Wii remote as if it were a sensor bar.
Mm-hmm.
Odd, but it works.
In fact, when they demonstrated, they showed it using the Wii remote.
And it's not multi-touch, which might annoy some people, but I guess you got all the other buttons to use. You also can use it as a screen, which they use a lot, essentially to cover up the screen to make another view, or you can even have this television turned off and use the game and put the game onto the screen itself and act as another control method.
The big thing about it is that it streams directly to the Wii U without any issues or lagging.
So you can multitask with gaming.
Oh, and it's HD.
In case you wanted, they checked that box, as they say. Let's see, we got them all. Front-facing camera, that's one I forgot. That's a rechargeable controller, and it's got rumble and a stylus, which you can use because it's compactive. And no, it's because it's resistive, not compactive. And you can also send footage to the game. Or you can also shoot footage from what's on your controller onto the television.
And once you do, you can actually flick onto the screen. They showed Ninja Stars. Has online capabilities.
Yeah,
they didn't go into detail about that.
No, but they mentioned that it was going to do a lot of stuff with that. Right. And backwards compatible with Wii, and will use Wii accessories. Mind you, only one Wii U controller works for the system at a time right now. They might go to 2, but I can't imagine 4.
They said the big thing about the controllers are more expensive, so they're going to sell alongside the console.
Yeah. They might, and so essentially the system's going to be the Wii 2 with this new controller for singular experiences. Hopefully the online's great. These are the games that were shown off alongside it. You have a Zelda HD. It was non-playable just to see the lighting effects.
And they claim that all these experiences aren't real. They might actually make into a real game. So don't assume that Zelda is coming for launch.
Yeah. New Super Mario Bros. Me. Essentially,
Super Mario Brothers
Wii, but with the ability to put your Mii characters on it and the ability to switch it onto the controller. That was probably just a way to see how the Wii systems would look with HD graphics. Nothing particular about that. Other tech demos include Garden, which essentially was showing the high-tech graphics.
The water looked amazing.
Yeah.
Some of the things were a little off, but I think most of it looked really nice.
Essentially, expect this to be definitely an HD console plus a little bit more, but nothing extravagant and jump. We have Chase Me, which essentially is a Pac-Man versus without Pac-Man. One person uses the Wii U controller to see everything, and the other people only have the limited sight of as if they were ghosts. You can play 5-player multiplayer with the system, by the way. And then we have Battle Me, which is 2 players looking like Samus shooting down a UFO, while the other person with the U controller kind of goes like this.
Gyros to you move around with the ship
and shoot them at that. And then you have Shield Pose, which is to block
basically virtually around you is a bunch of ships, and you actually have to move the remote to block out.
And then it's pretty much a dance game, weirdly enough. What involves blocking
Queen Rhythm Heaven.
Yeah. We got sports, which is just generic stuff like baseball, which is pretty cool. You get to catch a ball like that. And we're running out of time, so let's keep going. Aliens Colonial Marines is going to use the Unreal 3 engine.
Oh, by the way, third parties are highly supporting it.
And Crytek's going to be on it, and other people are going to be on it as well. Ninja Gaiden 3 is going to have a special edition mode to it, which is kind of like Dragon Sword, which was the DS game. Kind of same thing for it.
Darksider.
Darksiders 2, Batman Arkham City, Assassin's Creed, and Tekken are all going to be on the system.
Oh, I was just going to mention Tekken. Isn't Tekken coming to 3DS also?
Yeah, it is.
I forgot about that.
I forgot about Tekken.
Sorry.
Yeah, that was a surprise that I did not expect. Plus some weird games as well. We got Ken Levine was in an interview, as was Warren Spector, which might hint future support, but then Ken Levine went to say, well, we haven't really tried. I just wanted to say the controller was good. So I don't know what Nintendo did with that. But Nintendo didn't announce any major first-party games, except for they're publishing Lego City Stories, which essentially is a Grand Theft Auto game using Legos, which looks real nice from the screenshots.
Graphically, it looked like an HD game, and it looked nice. We haven't seen any gameplay of it, of course, because Nintendo wants to keep that the rep since this is not coming out till next year. We're probably not going to see it till holiday next year, or June at the earliest.
No, I think it's going to be April to June. It's coming out earlier than that. The Wii can't sustain.
Yeah, the Wii doesn't have a lot of games to showcase, sadly.
The other weird announcement was that he said that Sakurai is going to be making a Smash Brothers for both 3DS and Wii U.
Of course, but it hasn't even been begun production. They just put the job applications out now.
So the game is clearly going to be a ways off.
And seeing how Sakurai loves to work on Smash Brothers, we're probably not going to see this till the end of 2013. So yeah, 2 years. Two and a half years.
2 years at least. And finally, EA came out to say, yeah, we're working alongside Nintendo.
They showed a whole list of games.
Frankly, that was a very boring way to end the show. They should have had one major announcement, but they just ended with EA. I guess they wanted to emphasize that third parties were behind the system. And that was Nintendo. The conference definitely missed a lot of Wii games because they left and they showed a whole bunch of logos and stuff. There was a number of games for the 3DS, the DS even, and the Wii
that could have been showcased.
That could have been showcased, but they chose not to. And I think that actually helped them out because of the three-prong system. They wanted to emphasize Zelda was a big thing for them. They wanted to show off that the 3DS still had major support from them, and they also wanted to emphasize the new system. But perhaps they spent too much time talking about the new system that it overrang. It went too loud to the other two. You know,
I think the problem I had in general with the conference was that the Wii U isn't coming out until next year. If they really wanted to get everyone all surprised by it, they really should have announced one true first-party lineup for it: a new Mario, a new Zelda, a new F-Zero. Who knows? Just something so that people can say, I want to play that when the Wii U comes out. Right now, there's only the third-party games that are being presented. I think Nintendo did it on purpose. Yeah. Because they want the third parties to stand out just as much as them. I'm
interested in Lego City Stories, so I don't know what's up with you, and I'm pretty certain that those demos, a number of them are going to be put together into some pack and stuff.
Plus, also the fact that none of the Japanese games are anymore.
Nintendo wasn't as good as say Sony, but it was better than Microsoft, I'd say. In terms of they actually had a cohesive show, so to speak. They were very up in front about everything. They had good games to show in the end,
and they had a lot of new things to show. Most stuff we saw there was new, and the announcements were
relatively. So it was a pretty good. Not as good as last year. Last year had a lot of surprise announcements.
Yeah, last year was about just showing off tons of games. This time it was more about let's hold back our announcements on games and showcase the things we want to emphasize.
And now to think about it, I think it was a good idea because the 3DS they showed off a lot of stuff with the games, a lot of new game demos stuff, and then they haven't come out yet. And that's a bad thing because that means the system's been out for a few months and people are like, "Where's the games?" And trying to ignore
Zelda comes out soon, and I can't wait to get my hands on that.
Yeah. So anyway, that's Nintendo, and see us again with us talk about everything else that the show had to give.